So BookTrek is a bi-monthly program organized by CORA. CORA, C-O-R-A. CORA means Committee for Relevant Arts in Nigeria. Now, the whole idea of BookTrek is because we want people to learn from the book. Allow me to digress a little. You know, what class is this? SS1, 2, 2. Now, in your little, forgive my choice of word, in your little height that you have attained in education, there are some things that will happen in your community, and then you see people that maybe did not have the privilege of going through school at all, or have not gotten as much experience as you, and you see how they handle some things, and you do like, I would not have done like that. It must have happened to 1 or 2 persons before. And why do you have that confidence? Is the power of knowledge. So we thought to get a better society, or to get a better community, we need to let people know the power, or the power of knowledge, which is in the book. Now, it is a very tough task to bring people to the library. On that note, the people that pay my salary, the organizers of this event, then thought, let's take the book to people. You know that adage that says, the mountain will not come to Mohammed will stand up and go to the mountain. So the mountain has, one of us has left. We are come to meet you. So I will implore you to please maximize the opportunity here. You know, there are some things that, I don't know if you heard the word, but the adage that says, little drops of water makes what? God bless you. So, there are some things, don't look out for the big things here today. Look out for the small things. The courage, the donations, the reading, the stories that we shared, all of those things, in their tiny bits, will gather one day. Knowledge is like something you don't necessarily need at that point. It just stores somewhere. It stores at the back of your head. And then you're in a situation, and then you just think, hey, wait, I have a deposit somewhere. But if you did not pay attention, you know you can be in computer class, okay, I just used that word, I was a science student, so imagine you were in a physics class, and then the teacher was trying to explain acceleration and deceleration or motion, and he used probably his car when the brake was bad. It doesn't pertain to the lesson at hand at that point in time. But somewhere, you see something, maybe you're traveling to Ibadan, and then you see a car that having that particular issue. It just reminds you of the class. You say, oh yes, Mr. Aramo's break field where we're having, you see, so. Again, I would like to implore you, please be on the lookout, be relaxed, enjoy every bit of the program, engage the author. I mean, she came here for you. There are questions, despite, that pertains or that doesn't really pertain to this program. Would you like to clear your curiosity? Would you like to clear your doubts? Please, if there is no idea here, will be shocked. So again, I say welcome to CORA BookTrek, Surulere iteration. Enjoy yourself, maximize your opportunity, and I'll see you at the end of the session. Thank you very much.
Moving on, we'll move directly because it's 12 now, and it's start officially. While we're doing this, I'll be calling on one of the best members of this team, Ndidi Chiazor-Enenmor, giving us a background of our BookTrek, monthly BookTrek. This is our normal custom and the tradition that we always do. Okay, please a round of applause for Ndidi Chiazor-Enenmor.
Hi everyone, good afternoon. So welcome you to today's BookTrek. Like my colleague already explained earlier, we do this every month where we take books to the community. We bring the books to underserved communities that on places where we find out that maybe they don't have libraries where people can visit, or maybe people don't even have time to visit the library. So we get a location, we get students, we invite students to come for book sessions. So you'll meet the author, you read the book, you ask all the questions that you want to ask. And then you also get to have a one-on-one conversation with the author, and then you have your books signed. So welcome you all today. We welcome the guests online. Welcome everybody to the Surulere iteration, and we'll be starting shortly. So I'll call back on Kunle to introduce the author to you guys. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Mrs. Oyindamala. So, before I start introducing the author, this is something relatable, right? This is a story that we all, one way or the other, can talk about. Before we allow the author to even give us the journey, to take us the journey of the book, what does it take to be a father's pride? Some of us actually miss the content of the word father's pride. But many of us believe that it is when you go home and you are the best in the class. But worse in behavior. As long as I'm the best in the class and my behavior is not good, I see my father's pride. What does it take to be a father's pride? Don't forget, if I say father's pride, I automatically mean mother's pride. So both. So what does it take to be a father's pride? The second writer in the house, hello, Alaja, you said you have written work, right? Okay, so from your works, please come out. Please come out. From your works, please come out. A writer is actually a visionary, someone who foreseen what's going to happen. Do you understand? So when you talk about being a writer, it means you can see ahead, you can tell the future, you can tell us things that we have not even seen. If you have read the book Chigozie Obioma, The Road to the Country, who was given a visionary event of Nigeria 1967, Civil War. The Civil War has not even started, but that story gives us an highlight of what will happen in the story. So you as a writer, what do you think a father's pride means?
Yeah. Good morning, everyone. My name is Ndidi Chiazor-Enenmor. Before I start saying about the father's pride, I would like to tell you guys about my own story. Here, the title of the story is Hope, written by me, and what actually happened there was about me. So about the story, there was a man called Mr. Oni, and there was a woman called Miss Oni. They are both husband and wife, and they gave birth to twins. That's me, Tai, and my sister Kenny. So when we were like 5 years old, so my father was like, he denied that he was the one that gave birth to us. He said he wasn't the one that gave birth to us. So for like 10 years old, we were at primary 5, want to do our common entrance. My mom is a teacher, and she was a teacher at private school. So she have like, her salary was about 10,000. So she will be the only one to take the responsibility. So my dad, like my mom called my dad, and my mom told him about the common entrance, but my dad said he has no money, that I have money. So my mom did this by herself, and then my mommy had to marry another person. So at Lagos State, because we were living at CORA State before, offer. So my mommy came to Lagos 2020, and she married another person. But me, yeah, I'm Christian before. So when my mommy wants to marry again, so she have to marry Muslim. Since it's Muslim, she have no choice. So she married Muslim. And presently she have birth to one son, Abdullah. So my mommy left us, and we went to go and live with our grandma, Kwara State, Ilorin. So when we were there, my mom would send money, the grandma, she won't do anything. So we upped, and we were maltreated by grandmas, whatever. So when we want to be in SS1, we were still there with grandma. We spent 4 years there. Just 1, just 2, just 3, and SS1. So actually, we were here to have an holiday for SS1. So my mom said we should stay here permanently, that we should not go back because the maltreatment is too much for us. So my mom called my dad again. It's my dad that called and begged my mom. But my mom told her that she can't marry him again. So then, when we want to resume SS2 year, Surulere Senior Secondary School, the money was too much. So my mom had to call him back that want to resume school. And my dad sent 100,000. My mom used it, and my dad said he want to see us. So my mom was like, you can't see us, because there was a time that my dad won't, because he don't actually have the right to carry us anywhere, since he said they are not our father. So he's like, he wants to carry us. Let me say he wants to kidnap us that day. So since then, my mom was very afraid of him. So my mom was like, you can't see my kid too. So he said, since you can't let me see them, I won't send any money. My mom said, no problem. So September, my dad called my mom again that you want to see us. Mom was like, you can't see them. You have to have patience. My mom was then like, since all this while, you don't even bother to send money that, is this sound you are eating? My dad, and I have all these bad words from Oyo State. So he was insulting my mom and said, change your kid name to your son name. And my mom is Ola Soinde. So my mom was like, which God do you have to say this? My dad was like, don't call me ever again in your life. And I'm not the one that gave birth to twins. Many years ago, 4 years old, my dad kidnapped us to his family. And then we were still kids. So we were maltreated as well there. Maltreated so much. They maltreated us. When our others, they are inside school bus going to school, we will be there trekking. Then we were still kids, we bedwet, me and my twin sister. My grandpa would say we should drink our urea. So we have to drink it. Yes. So after that, we still go to our grandma and suffer there. So my mom was not like, we should face our study. Me, I'm a science student. My sister is an art student. Only kind of peculiar. So about my story is that me, as a person, I have hope that anywhere I see this man called my father, I will never say he's my father. Because when I need him the most, he was not there for me. It was only my mom. She's just a private school teacher suffering for us. My hope is that I'll become a medical doctor and my sister will become a baker. And then we have to be rich to take care of our mom. Thank you.
Please, thank you very much for sharing your personal story, and I hope the story is written. The story is written, but I'm not in the shoe to say good or bad, but I will just say that in every story, there's always the good side of it. In every story, there's always a lesson. And you giving yourself conclusion like that okay, you hope, you pray like that, it's actually a message to the community that nobody should be an irresponsible father. So we can see we have a father in the making here, where's again, we have any father again? Let's just say 2 fathers in making here. They have learned from your lesson. And they don't want to be a kind of a shame, a figure of shame to their children. From this story, I must be the best man. Do you understand? So that's why I say that in every story there's a good part. Everybody was listening to the whole of the sad story. Wow. But what I'm saying, I'm seeing someone who is trying to reshape the construction of the society. Someone who is trying to let the world know that both the father, the mother are responsible to the life of their children. So to now, make the mood a bit happy, I'm going to introduce the author. Before I move on to that, let me read a short bio of this book, about this book a bit, this wonderful book. All right. If I can just, I said, A Father's Pride is a vibrant tale in Nigeria community, centered around a loving father and his 3 daughters. The protagonists, Urena and her siblings, embody the central themes of both the protection of the children, the preservation of the culture, and the advocacy for the environmental protection. Permit me as I introduce the author of this book, Mrs. Ndidi Chiazor-Enenmor. A round of applause for her, please. Wow.
Thank you so much. It's my pleasure to be in your midst. How many of you have read this? Okay, you're just meeting the book for the first time. So we are going to read some chapters, a few pages, and then we are going to have discussions around that. Okay? But basically, this book is centered around three themes. The theme of child abuse, the theme of cultural preservation, and then environmental preservation. These are three issues that are so passionate to me. Okay? I don't know how many of you heard the story about the story of a woman who killed her house help a few days ago in Imo State, simply because the girl was sitting down with her children to watch television. You can imagine. So a lot of children have lost their lives due to domestic abuse. And many times we think that domestic abuse is only when a husband is beating his wife. But children are also being abused globally. A lot of children go through one form of abuse or the other. And especially, you know, the word domestic, that means it's happening around the home where the child lives. So this book, Urena, she lost her father, her loving father. She lost her father, and then her aunt takes her to live with her in Lagos. But unfortunately, the aunt was mistreating her, using her as a house help to do all sorts of things. She wasn't even feeding her well. So we are going to read some pages from this book, and then I want you to, learn something at the end of today. Probably that girl that was killed, killed by the woman she was living with. I'm sure there are neighbors who must have heard that girl crying, I'm sure that was not the first day that woman was beating her. So anywhere we live, we should look, we should be our brother's keeper. So, also talking about environment, there's a chapter I love to read in this book, and I'm going to read it, chapter 8. If you're there, you can open to chapter 8. Tree planting. Tree planting, because tree planting is one of the things we do to preserve our environment, okay? To preserve our environment. How many of you have done one or two things to preserve your environment? I want to hear from you. How many of you have done one thing or the other to promote your environment? What have you done in your community, in your home, to preserve your environment? Okay, so tree planting is one of those things we can do. Okay, let's go. Page 89. At the assembly the next Monday, Mr. Benson looked at me as he addressed the pupils. I have some important information to pass across. He cleared his throat. Everyone listened. The 3 arms of Primary 6 embarked on a learning trip a couple of weeks ago. Everyone in Primary 6 Gold, Primary 6 Silver, and Primary 6 Diamond participated in that excursion, except for one pupil. He paused again while many eyes looked in Urena's direction. Urena was at a loss. She wondered where Mr. Benson was heading with his words. Well, there is no need to beat about the bush. That one pupil who was not part of the excursion is championing a cause that ought to have been championed by those who were physically present at the Lekki Conservation Center. How many of you have heard about the Lekki Conservation Center? I hope you get to visit it. For those of you who haven't done it, I hope you get to visit it. Okay. So Urena's eyes lit up along with the rest of her face. On Friday, Mrs. Hilda submitted a well-thought-out plan which Urena Chijoke is championing, alongside her friend Omolala Ade. These 2 girls will be our green champions as they lead us on a tree planting campaign. I think Green Queen is a more appropriate name. The teacher and some of the pupils fell into laughter. Urena blushed. Or should we call them green ambassadors? Green Queen, some of the pupils chorused. Green champions, some chanted. Green ambassadors, the rest shouted. Now be quiet, Mr. Benson thundered. He adjusted his tie. You can choose whatever name you like. He seemed pleased with the children's show of excitement. He cleared his throat and went on. There is another important announcement. All became quiet as the pupils inched forward to hear what the next announcement would be. The school will be participating in a forthcoming cultural fiesta. It is being organized by the Ministry of Education in collaboration with the Ministry of Culture and Tourism. He went on to explain that both ministries are desirous of reviving certain aspects of Nigerian culture to inculcate cultural awareness in school children. It is a laudable initiative, and as a firm believer in a well-rounded education, I will roll up my sleeves to see that our school fully participates in the fiesta. We are going to come up with a cultural dance and other relevant cultural activities, so our school will be well represented. Mr. Benson adjusted his tie again before carrying on. So as you can see, we have 2 events before us. We will do the tree planting exercise this week, then we will begin earnest preparation for the cultural fiesta. He went ahead to instruct the students, the pupils, to come to school on Thursday, wearing any school with a touch of green. Do not wear your uniform to school on Thursday, just put on something with a touch of green. And if you can, come with something to plant. We are carrying out a green revolution. The pupils and teachers gave a round of applause. Urena felt her heart like her heart would burst with excitement. On Thursday morning, Efe lent Urena a green t-shirt to wear over a blue pair of jeans. Mr. Benson had arranged for 3 seedlings and some stems. We need a song to ginger us as we plant the trees, Ifem stated. He cocked his head mischievously. Why don't you suggest a song? Ogechi responded. It has to be a song specifically composed for the exercise, Ifem retorted. So who will compose the song? Ogechi's eyes darted from Ifem to Ali. Why are you looking at me? Ali asked playfully. I am not a song composer. Everyone laughed. Ali was well known for his funny and witty remarks. Ifem brought up the idea of a song. You should compose one, Lola stated. Urena cast her mind back to when Ifem bullied her with songs and jokes. She had forgiven him. She no longer felt hurt about it. Well, I take up the challenge, Ifem said with a look of triumph. And here goes the song. Are you ready for us to learn the song? Yes. So you sing after me. We are champions, champions of the environment.
We are champions, champions of the environment.
We are heroes, heroes of the environment.
We are heroes, heroes of the environment.
We will green our school. We will plant trees and flowers.
We will green our schools. We will plant trees and flowers.
We will save the planet. We are green ambassadors.
We will save the planet. We are green ambassadors.
So you have to be a green ambassador. You have to save the planet. You have to be a champion of the environment. Okay? Even from the way you dispose of your plastic. You know, some of these plastics, when you just throw them anyhow, it gets into our gutters, it blocks our gutters, and then when it even gets to the sea, it can kill the fishes. Okay, so it's one way or the other, it affects the entire ecosystem. So let's resolve to be green ambassadors. Let's resolve to be champions of our environment and teach people around you. If you're in a bus and somebody throws something from the bus, gently correct the person and tell them, please don't do that next time, okay? So let's all be champions of our environment. Okay, so everyone clapped. Ifem could compose songs with so much ease. Then the tree planting commenced. First, the planting was done in front of each classroom block in the school. Next, they planted some outside the gates at the entrance of the school. Then primary 5 and 6 pupils went on to plant some along the long stretch of the walls of the school. They will first water the spots where the tree will be planted. Then they will dig up some soil, insert some seedling or stem, cover up the soil, and water it again. At the end of the exercise, the pupils were tired but happy. You know, when you've done something good, you'll be tired but you'll be happy at the same time, okay? All right, so that's what happened here. Urena was delirious with joy. Before she got into her bed after taking a shower, she wrote in her diary, "Papa, I made you proud today." Remember, the title of the book is A Father's Pride. So even if though her father was dead, she was still striving to make him proud. She remembered what Efe said about the value of a diary entry being measured by its date. So although she was feeling groggy, she made sure to add Thursday, 26th of May, 2022. So that was the day the tree planting took place. Okay? So that's one aspect of the book talking about promoting the environment. Because if we don't do something, it's like we are sitting on a keg of gunpowder that will explode on all of us. And we are not going to allow that to happen. So at least let's replenish the earth. When your daddy or your mommy, when your family, you're building a house, tell them to carve out a space for gardening. Okay? You know, we're always shouting about the cost of living, things are expensive. But if we can just plant something around us, we will reduce hunger one way or the other. Because you don't have to buy everything from the market. Okay? So that is it. Okay, we are going to read another chapter, and then we are going to, this time, dance, not just sing. Are you ready? Okay. Is ready to prosecute every offender. We are not resting on our hands. Thank you, Mrs. Yakasai. I must apologize that as a school, we ought to have acted faster than we did. Yes, Mr. Benson, I wish we had been informed earlier. All the same, we are thankful for the intervention. Now, the next thing is to see her get reunited with her mother and siblings. Mrs. Udo's spoke next. We know that your office will want to reunite Urena with her mother as soon as possible. But we plead. What Mrs. Udo is trying to say is that Urena is a valuable pupil of our school. Mr. Benson intervened. We do not want her to just go back to her hometown, at least not yet. My daughter told me of Urena's role in the preparation for the cultural fiesta Lola's mother began. I feel that she stays for the event. The young girl is such a bundle of talent. She is indeed talented, Mrs. Udo concurred. She championed the tree planting exercise and awareness with it. And this is her last class in primary school. Revision and exams will commence shortly after the cultural fiesta. We will not want our academies to be disrupted at this time, Mr. Benson added. I see your points, Mrs. Yakasai stated. She clapped her palms together. But her biological mother must know that her daughter is no longer with the person she handed her over. It's her right to know. And it's her right to decide whether her daughter should come back to her or stay in Lagos for a while. We can only guide her in making the right decision, but we cannot decide for her. Her aunt will need to provide information on how to reach her mother. I hope she will cooperate, Mrs. Udo stated. She has no choice, Mrs. Yakasai said. Her voice was terse. What about the lady who was bringing her to school recently? Mr. Benson asked. They all turned to Urena. That is Mrs. Ejiro, my aunt's friend. Do you know where she lives? Do you have her house address? Yes, sir. Good. Please write the address here, Mrs. Aboderin said. She passed the notebook to Urena. If you all permit, she can stay at my house till we reach her mother, Lola's mother offered. Urena felt butterflies in her stomach. It would be such a joy to stay in Lola's house, but she missed Mrs. Ejiro and Efe and her siblings. Can I spend some days in Lola's house and some days in Mrs. Ejiro's house? She asked meekly. They all smiled. Mrs. Yakasai laughed. If your teacher and headmaster permits that, I cannot say no. You have my permission, Urena. Thank you, sir, she smiled. Look down and look up again, but I also want to see my mother and my sisters. I miss them so much. She wiped a tear that was already trickling down her cheek. Lola's mother got up from where she sat, came to Urena, scooped her into her arms. We will see to that, my dear, I promise you, we will see to that. Mrs. Yakasai rose, and so did Mrs. Abodere. We must be on our way now, Mrs. Yakasai announced. She turned to Lola's mother, Mrs. Adeyi. I want to see your daughter. She's an epitome of genuine friendship. Mrs. Adeyi beamed. Thank you for that compliment. Let me get her from the class, Mrs. Udo said, dashing up. Okay. This story in synopsis is about this girl, Urena Chijoke. She was living in the village with her beloved parents. They were poor, very, very poor. so poor to the extent that for her birthday, the clothes are called cake, but her father will catch a rabbit with his trap and they will roast it and eat. So instead of cutting birthday cake, they were using rabbits as their birthday cake. You know? But when the man died, she came to Lagos to live with her auntie, and she was being maltreated. And her friend Lola did something significant, which I want all of you to learn: the value of great friendship. When she noticed the sadness in her friend's face all the time, she has to ask questions and realized that she was being maltreated, and she informed her mother. And one day she borrowed her brother's phone to snap the scars, the injury marks on her body. And this is one of the evidence that was used when she was rescued. The book is also talking about the Child's Rights Act. Every child has a right to education. Every child has a right to certain things. And the children also has responsibilities to their parents and their elders. So we are not just talking about promoting children's rights and all of that. The children also owe their parents respect. But what, in summary, anytime you see a child being maltreated, maybe in your school, don't just keep quiet. Report to the appropriate authorities. Maybe your classmate has been absent from school for a long time. You should be able to ask questions. Or you see marks on your classmate's body. Don't wait till that child is killed, like the child that was killed in Imo State. So when you observe certain things, report to your headmaster, report to your teachers, and they can do something about it. Okay? No child deserves to be maltreated. Some children are being sexually molested. So talk to somebody, talk to a responsible adult so that something can be done. Don't just keep quiet, okay? Because in this book, Lola played a very vital role in rescuing her friend. Perhaps she could have died in that situation if nothing was done about it. Welcome to the latecomers. Welcome. Thank you for joining us. Okay. All right. I want to go to page 144 so that we'll learn this dance. Ekpata kuku nere. Ogodokwa anya kwache ya ogodoka. Can I have your ogodoka anya kwache ya ogodoka anya kwache ya? Hold this my phone. Let me demonstrate how to ogodo. Sing that. Ewo ogodo ogodo. Ewo ogodo ogodo. You're supposed to have a rapper. We know we go ogodo. Yakpata kuku nere. Ogodoka anya kwache ya ogodoka. Okay, you see this song is all about contentment. If you look at the translation of it, it says dance of the rapper, If you don't have a rapper, go and pluck plantain leaves. And even if you have that rapper, when the rapper gets done, we stitch it up. Because in this age and time, we see a lot of youth not being contented with what they have. It's like there is this measure of wealth, especially those of you on Instagram, those of you on TikTok, you watch a lot of things, so much competition, but you should learn to be content with what you have, contented, okay, with whatever you have. You're not in competition with anybody, you're just in competition with yourself, all right? So this song, you can see in simple terms. If you don't have a rapper, go and pluck plantain leaves or banana leaves. And it's just like saying, when you don't have something you're desiring, there is always something else you can use at the moment. You get my point? You may not be able to afford iPhone right now, but you can even if it's not your 3310, use it. At the right time, you'll afford iPhone. So don't be swayed. Don't be bothered with what you see. Don't be swayed with people displaying wealth. You don't even know where they are getting the wealth from. Always try to be satisfied with whatever you have, whatever you can afford per time. So this is like the summary of this song.
We are champions.
Champions of the environment. We are heroes. Heroes of the environment.
We will green and food. We will plant trees and flowers. We will save the planet.
We are green ambassadors. Again, can we say it again?
We are
Champions, champions of the environment. We are heroes, heroes of the environment. We will green our soul. We will plant trees and flowers. We will save the planet. We are green ambassadors. Good. Put your hands together for yourself. So what are those things you do to preserve your environment? What can you do?
Stop the extinctions of animals.
Yeah, some animals are going extinct. You know, when I was growing up, I used to see vultures, you know, wherever there is a carcass, maybe a dead animal, you see vultures coming to eat. But we no longer see vultures. Some animals are going extinct. Some people are hunting down any animal they see. They want to kill it and use it for food, you know. Some exotic animals are going into extinction, and we should try to. I think a sea turtle was caught in a river in one of the states, one of the neighboring states, and you know, I mean, we should preserve those animals so that even some trees, even some crops, even some vegetables have gone into extinction. And because of deforestation too, a lot of forests are being, you know, estate development agencies, they are just cutting down trees, you know, building houses without it being reserving. You know, the Lagos state government stipulates that for every building, every property, 30% of the land should be left for vegetation. But so many people are not complying. So you're leaving this state with a lot of information. So every hand should be on deck. It is a collective responsibility for us to maintain and preserve our environment. Okay? So tree provides shades. It provides shades. It also protects the environment from erosion and so many other things. So tree planting is very important. This is a new year. This is January 2025. You can decide that, okay, this 2025, I'm going to plant 3 trees, you know. You talked about the book we are writing. It's more like a biography, you know. It's a real life experience, isn't it? Okay. I heard what you said about your father, but I pray and I hope that he will come back soon and help your mom to raise you. I don't want you to bear unforgiveness in your heart, but we hope and we pray along with you that he will change his ways and come back and help your mom to nurture you, okay? So your target should not be to grow up and make money and be wicked to your father. No, that shouldn't be. Maybe you should try to call him if you have his phone number. You should try to call him, really. Any questions? No questions, no contribution?
My name is Rotimi Moses. Yes. Not to us that what are the things we must do to obtain our father's or mother's pride?
Okay, good question. Honor them, respect them. In the morning, you don't tell your father, hi daddy, hi mommy. That's not our culture. You shouldn't imbibe everything. You should be able to treat your parents properly. Be very, very obedient to them and then study very hard, excel in your exam. And when you do those things, your parents will be proud of you. Any other questions? Or contribution? How many of you are aspiring writers here? How many of you are aspiring writers? It doesn't matter whether you're in science class or art class. Some medical doctors, some, you know, they write books. You have a question, please come over and ask.
By the time I finish,
Put your hands together for her. You can start now, you don't have to wait. Maybe in your free period you can start to write. Whenever the inspiration comes, you put down your thoughts. That way, you know, some books can take many years to write. So you can start now. And how many of you read books outside of your textbook? Outside of the recommended test? How many novels did you read before?
I read Boku Hibiscus,
Okay.
The Potter's Wheel, The Traveler's Cruise,
Oh.
Slaves.
Fantastic. When you read The Father's Pride, you see some similarities with the Potter's Wheel because the child, when he went to live with the teacher's wife was also maltreating her, giving her dead chicken and all of that to eat. You see some similarities. It's something that is so rampant. Children being maltreated. In fact, one of the inspirations I had before I started, when I was growing up, when I was a teenager, where I lived, we had this neighbor who was maltreating the house help that was living with her. And as a young child, I couldn't really do much. I wish it happened now, but I couldn't do much. But I was wondering why the grown-ups around me then didn't do anything about that child. And you know what? The child's name is also Ndidi. Funny enough. Every morning, this woman will shout, Ndidi, come and do this, come and do that. So I don't even know where the child is now. I don't know whatever became of her. I pray that wherever she is, she's doing well. So when you see those things, you have to act, do something to protect that child. Okay? Tell your parents or talk to your teacher or any responsible adult around you. Okay. Any other question, contribution, observation? Thank you.
Onye tiri nwa n'ebe akwa, ebe tiri nwa n'ebe akwa, otu nzuzo wee tose, weta ma ngịnụgọfe, ụmụndụ na-aghọta ya,
Okay. A lot of languages are going into extinction. A language goes into extinction where that language is no longer being spoken. So we have to preserve our languages. We don't have to make our language go into extinction, okay? You can even adopt a day in a week in your school to speak only the vernacular, local languages. You teach yourselves basic. You do that?
Yes.
Oh, that's good. That's good. Is it all over Lagos State or just your school? Oh, every Wednesday?
Yes.
Yeah, when did this thing start? When did it start? Huh? Oh, that's fine. So we should, how many of you are learning? How many of you have been learning, teaching one another various languages? What have you been learning? We don't have to adopt all these policies and not do anything about it. Are you actually speaking your local language? Only 3 people have come here to greet us in their local languages. Among all of us gathered here, only 3 people. Only 3 students. Please come over. It's a very serious program. What about you that you're telling her don't be shy? What about you? Okay, I want to see people from other ethnicities, not just Yoruba and Igbo. Okay. There is no language as Calabar. What we have is Ibibio. We have a lot of things to learn. There is nothing like Calabar language. Calabar is just a city, the capital of Cross River State. So we have many languages. We have Ibibio, we have Anam, we have. So don't say she's speaking Calabar. There is nothing like speaking Calabar. Okay.
Where are you from?
Okay, what are you, Yoruba?
Yes.
Okay.
Okay, say something to us in Yoruba. Not the general Yoruba, that para Yoruba. What is
like I want to do it.
Okay, come over here. As many as you that want to say something to us in your local language.
I want to do something different. I want to be like me that please.
ọmọ lálọ́mí ọmọ abíṣújó kan o ọmọ ìdàkàtì ló wọ fà ìjàpọ̀ tó ń dàbí ọlọ́fà oṣooju èdè oṣooju kò kó gbọ́dọ̀ jùkọ́ o tí kò bá jùkọ́ jàlífà.
Please come and interpret what you said. Come and interpret it.
That there is a town called Ofa, located in Kwara State, and the rules of the town say that you want to share something, you must share it equally. But if you don't share it equally, you are going to find that there's going to be problem. So the lesson says that we should be truthful. That if they give something to us, we should try to make it equal, irrespective of the age or gender, and also.
That's good. Yeah, that's what we want to hear today. Can we have more people come and say something in their native dialect? A song, a poem. Okay, please. Because in a father's pride, that's one of the things Surulere was doing. She was telling them folk tales, teaching them their Igbo language and all of that. So I want you to be inspired today.
Good afternoon, everyone. Orúkọ mi ni Oyindamola Ọlákòkun, so mo fẹ́ kọrin fún wa. Ọmọ mi ṣoore tí a dára o, ọmọ mi gbọ́ tèmi tí a dára o, ọmọ mi ṣoore tí a dára o, ọmọ mi gbọ́ tèmi tí a dára o, ìyá mi máa ṣoore gbàdúrà fún mi, bàbá mi máa ṣoore gbàdúrà fún mi. Tọmọdé bá hùwà burúkú wá níyá ẹ̀ ló kọ́, tọmọdé bá hùwà burúkú wá ní bàbá ẹ̀ ló kọ́. Ìyá mi fọ̀nà tó dá hàn mí láyé, bàbá mi fi wà tó tọ́ hàn mí láyé. Ayé tí mo wà yìí kò máa yé mi o, ẹ̀yin ni Ọlọ́run kejì mi láàyè. Ìyá mi máa ṣoore, bàbá mi máa ṣoore, ìyá mi máa ṣoore, tèmi á dára o. Ìyá mi máa ṣoore, bàbá mi máa ṣoore, ìyá mi máa ṣoore, tèmi á dára o.
Fantastic. That's so fantastic. I think that's a local song, isn't it? But it was made very popular by the late lady of songs, Christine Etienne Ibokwe. And that woman, she was from Akwa Ibom State, I think, married an Igbo man, and she speaks Yoruba. She was speaking Yoruba language very well. So you can see she's very multilingual. So that's one of the things you should aspire to be able to speak so many languages. One more person to give us a song as we round up. Good. Okay, please come over here. Two of you come over. In your native languages.
Ẹ káàsán ẹ̀yin akẹgbẹ́ mi. Orúkọ tèmi ni Ògúndẹ̀rọ̀ Alifas. Ìṣẹ̀fẹ́ kọrin fún wa. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́bà lówó kẹfì hàn wá lọ. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́bà lówó kẹfì hàn wá lọ. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí. Ẹ̀kọ́ dára púpọ̀, ẹ̀kọ́ ló láyé táwa yìí sẹ́. Ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò gíga, ẹ̀kọ́ ló ń gbé ní dépò ọlá. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́bà lówó kẹfì hàn wá lọ. Ẹ dákun yé ẹ̀yin òbí wa, tẹ́bà lówó kẹfì hàn wá lọ.
Thank you so much. Thank you. We have a professor in the house. Thank you so much, Prof.
Thank you very much for coming. You are our neighbor schools here? Yes? Good. So you know about A20. Yeah? You know us. You're always going in and coming back and making noise and being merry and being great teenagers as you are. So we're very pleased to have you here. We in A2MC, we encourage creativity, literature, architecture, art, and all subjects that have to do with culture. Does anybody know that science is also part of culture? Yes. Absolutely. So almost every subject is also to do with culture. And thankfully, the book, I've not read it, but it was speaking about different languages, or local languages. Thank you very much. Yes, thank you. Is that good? Yeah. All right. So, across the world, we are very much interested in getting you to begin to think about your local languages. Now, when I lecture in Japan, in China, of course, British, live in Britain and I lecture there, Americans speak English. Now, when I go to Japan, I have to have an interpreter. All their textbooks are written in Japanese. Same in China. So, and many other countries. Arabic countries, Middle East, all those countries. So we are now beginning the movement to begin to write our own literature and our own textbooks in mathematics, in physics, in chemistry, all these other subjects in our own indigenous languages. Now, guess who is going to do that? Guess who is going to start doing that? Thank you very much. We are just laying the foundation. And I remember writing a few years ago on history, culture, and heritage, and indigenous languages being part of the curriculum. And that was in 2011. So I think we kicked it in 2012, 2013. Yeah? So thankfully that is going on, keeping going. So I don't think you remember when we did our history and culture lectures. You are not there. When was that? 2017, is it? So we want to encourage you to always read. And when you're reading, always try as well to see if you can interpret what you read in your indigenous language. Maybe just a page, just a paragraph, or a phrase, and the page that you really thought was written beautifully and said something. So try and write that in your own language. Just a page, just a paragraph, even a few sentences. Yeah? And that is where it's going to begin. But readers are leaders. So always be encouraged to read. People say, young generation, are you to Gen Z or are you to Gen Z? Yes, Z's X squared. So people say Gen Z's don't read. Now, Gen Z's don't carry books the way we used to, but they do read, because if you give it your mobile phone, you're always there, you're always checking out something or whatever. So you are actually reading, but transfer that into reading books. Because there's a whole lot of knowledge and information you can get from books, newspapers, there's a couple of editors, storytelling newspapers, things like that. So we're going to revive one, indigenous languages and the culture of reading. That is why we have CORA doing great jobs. We have writers like yourself coming out, encouraging. Thank you very much. And one day, I am hoping 2, 3, 4 of you will be standing here the way she is, with a book in your hand and speaking to my grandchildren. Thank you very much.
Ọmọdé ni mí, máa fojú sẹ́kọ̀ọ́ mi, ìrètí òbí mi kò má ṣe dáṣàṣàn, mi ò ní mú gbó, yóò ní fọ́mọ lóyún, tó bá dọjọ́ ọ̀la máa dòdò ọmọ.
Thank you.
10, chapter 2, page 11. Urena's constant lateness to school never dampened her eagerness to learn. Being a fast learner, she caught up with the lessons quickly enough. She did well in an assignments and tests and always got high scores. She answered questions regularly in class and always got the answers right. Her desk was next to Lola's, who secretly admired Urena for her brilliantness. On several occasions, Urena had helped Lola with mathematics. Mr. Udo was bothered with Urena beyond her chronic lateness. She always worried about Urena's appearance. Her school uniform looked faded from frequent washing. Other pupils had 2 or 3 sets of uniform. Urena had only one. Miss Odor was not the only one who observed Urena's appearance. The other pupils also did. I got out of hand when Ife, one of the boys in the class, started calling her untidy Urena. Soon after, some of his friends joined in. Not long after, Ife turned Talton into a song, and each time Miss Hilda stepped out of the class, he would begin to sing, untidy Urena, untidy like the sack she segues to school. Whenever Ife sang the song, his friends would laugh, which other people kept a straight face. Urena would bury her head in her nose, trying hard to hide the tears that streamed down her cheeks. Her school bag was ugly, she knew, but most Ife called it a sack. Ife not only threatened Urena for a tidy appearance and ugly school bag, but he always mocked her way she spoke. He said that Urena spoke with a heavy accent. She pronounced school as Sukulu, and pronounced class as Kulas. Different threats made Urena become return. She no longer felt comfortable answering questions in class, even when she knew the answers. Everyone in the class knew Ephraim was a bully, and not one could challenge him. Lola never joined in the laugh at Ephraim's jokes. Miss Arda was alarmed. She addressed the issue immediately after the break. Listen, class, you have no right to tag anyone with a derogatory name. Bullying is wrong. It is simple unacceptable. The pupils stole glance at Stephen. Thank you.
Okay, good afternoon, everybody. Yeah, it's such a joy to be in your midst, and it brings back memories of childhood. You know, when I equally was in, primary school and all of that. So I want to appreciate the book and the engagement with the students. So as much as possible, I want to encourage you. We want as many young writers as possible. And to be a future writer, this is the best time to start. I remember when I was in primary 5, primary 6, I was a voracious reader. I think that was the era of pesetas. I read almost all the pesetas that were printed or published at that time. I read almost all the James Hadley Chase that you could find. And I read a lot of, Cyprian Equency. I read a lot. So people used to I had a a reading colleague. So we bring like 2 or 3 books, and we exchange them. And within a day or two, we finish reading them. So 1 or 2 people will come to me, did you really read this book? And when I start narrating the content of the book, they got challenged. And I remember it was because of the voracious reading that I attempted to write my first book. Then, unfortunately, I wrote about either 98 or 120 pages, thereabout, lost in Spain. It never saw the light of day. I don't know where that manuscript is, but the important thing is I attempted it. It's just that I was careless with it. So I want to encourage you, read to expand your capacity, to know more. You read good writers. This book was shortlisted for the NLNG Prize for Literature, $100,000. So you can read this book and know that if this book can be shortlisted for the NLNG Prize, I want to write something that is as good or better. And that's a possibility. If you start now with that vision, in another 5 years or even 10 years, trust me, you can hit the bull's eye. Okay? So read, like the other speaker had said, read quality books and attempt to write. One of the things I did with I noticed that my first son is in SS2. My second son is currently in GS3. So I saw something he wrote, a story he wrote. So I asked him, was this AI, assisted? He said no, he was typing it in school. So he sent it to me. I said, this is very good. Now, my first son had written something on paper, a story on paper. So I looked at it. Because I snapped the shot, I didn't want the same thing that happened to me to happen to him. Coincidentally, he misplaced that book, but I had the snapshot on my phone. So I called him. When he read it, he said, no, this story is not good. I said, okay, here's my laptop. And I sat behind him, and he was typing and rewriting the story. So I knew then, when I was reading it, that it was not AI. So I knew that, yes, he has a talent to write. So we must also invest and build and hone our talent. So well done, everyone. I hope that in future I'll see 1 or 2 faces as future writers, members of Association of Nigerian Authors, Lagos chapter, or wherever you find yourself. God bless you all. Thank you.
So this is the part where we start rounding up. You don't want to clap for? Wow.
Hello, everyone. It was a delight to sit there and not just watch her read to you people, but to also see the engagement and the fact that you people were willing to follow with, you were actually following. It shows that there's hope. People say that, oh, young people don't read and all that, but these kind of events kind of keep the people who invest in things like this, gives them hope. Like he said, and like everyone else has said, I want to encourage you people to keep on reading. Keep on reading. When some of the readers were reading excerpts, I noticed that they were missing some words, and some people were laughing. You know yourselves.
when you find that someone is making a mistake or something like that, I think that the nice thing to do is to correct them later, right? I kind of felt, whenever they would laugh, it would just pinch me, and I think that we should correct them later. And if I'll tell you, the first time they called me to stand like this, I was actually shaking because I did not know. I knew what to say, but because the eyes were like that, I was shaking. And my friend said, "You have not seen anything." The next time he called me again, and now even if I'm sleeping, I just tap him and say, "Hey, go and say something." Chase me, just ambush me and I'm here, right? Don't stop reading out. Don't say, "Oh, because they called me out the last time, people laughed at me." Please keep at it. When you hear that there is an event like this, when you see a book, please open it, please read. For the lady who told her story, I would love to read your book someday. And like she said, I think you should update your objectives. Make the money for yourself. Make yourself happy. Everybody, you cannot judge your dad, or rather, he has done what he's done. Now it's up to you to rewrite history and rewrite your family story. So please keep it up, please keep reading, and I do hope that I would read from you people sometime in the future.